All right. Wow, I'm tall on this one. I'm overlapping with the logo there. Let me see if I can address that some, and also break the fourth wall a little bit by showing you exactly where the edge of the camera there is. So good evening, Wednesday night crew. It is time for the Game AI show, obviously. Otherwise, I guess you wouldn't be here. So today we're going to be playing a game called Eco. I decided that all of 30 seconds ago. I am still waiting for it to download. This might not be the slickest thing that I've ever put together. I actually got held up really late at work, a lot later than I was expecting tonight. And as a result of that, unfortunately, I am a little bit behind in coordinating everything else. I'm starting almost 10 minutes late. It's a shit show over here, guys. It's a complete shit show. But we can work through it, and that's what the important thing is here. So let me open my soda here, and that's going to make a slightly irritating noise on the microphone, I assume. So I was kind of thinking about what game we might play tonight, trying to think on what we could do and how we could do it. And Eco jumps to mind because it ties in a lot to last week's theme of like ecology and simulated environments and all that kind of good stuff. Well, let's let this video play that you can't see. That's not a good idea. What happens if I do this? That's enough of that. I think the key point here is that this is a really interesting simulation type thing, in that it's really kind of, there's obviously some flavors of Minecraft about it, but it looks like you're going to be able to go a lot deeper in terms of like industry and kind of real world kind of things. It looked like there was a JCB digger kicking around there. So let's get into it. Maybe. Oh, I need to hold on. Whoops, my bad. Wait, hang on. And this, my friends, is why you test your tech beforehand, because this game is not wanting to start up right now. But also it's set to the wrong thing. Let me change the properties of this to be that. Alright, that looks better. And I'll drop the overlay. Alright. Let's play the game. For best server matches, enter your usual playtimes. The game of Eco takes place over multiple days, with the world simulating even while offline. You can match you with your best worlds by finding servers that have similar playtimes. Oh, fuck. Well, this is more intense than I was expecting it to be. I'm gonna say rarely on Mondays and Tuesdays. I don't fucking know. Like, I feel so attacked. Like, come on, I just want to play a fucking game. Why is it gotta be? Fine, do it. I don't care. Learn to play in a new world with other beginners. Oh god, this is not what I thought it was at all. I kinda don't want to play multiplayer with people and be expected to join a Discord and be part of the community. Alright, I'm gonna note the fuck out. Because that's just not the kind of game I'm looking for right now. I am looking for something I can play in 2 hours, talk to you guys about, and then be done with. And apparently that's not that. So what else we got? Wow, this must be riveting on the stream, watching me try and figure out my Steam library and figure out what's going to be marginally playable on stream. I kind of want to go back to Oxygen Not Included, but I guess that's cheating. Alright, in the interest of like getting moving, I'm going to play some Factorio. Actually, let's play some Frostpunk because there's more interesting stuff in Frostpunk. So this is not quite new game, new week. I've played a couple of hours of Frostpunk in the past, but I suck at it. So hopefully we're going to get a little bit better here and talk about some of the systems behind it. Maybe. Wow, can I have my mouse on this screen, please? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Frostpunk. Look at that, with the overlay. Without the overlay. I'm really pretty stoked about this overlay. I can turn it on. I can turn it off. I can turn it on. Oh, I don't. I just clicked something. Shit. I can turn it off. Anyway. All right. Here we go. We're not gonna resume. It's been a while since I've played this, so let's see what we can do here. Yeah. So. Yeah. Hang on. Is my yeah. Okay. Cool. I should have done an audio check before this. This feels kind of loud, so I'm gonna crank up. Crank up my audio versus my game. Let's get into it. We're only 20 minutes behind schedule. I do not want to shut people saying that I'm hard to give versus the game, so let's see. Let's see what happens if I do. I will, honest, one day I will have my shit together. I will get here at a reasonable time. I will sit down. I will take everything in a reasonable way. But it's not going to be today. I'm going to move that over there so I can see the chat as well. And let's pop this back up. Alright. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Feel free to shout out if it's not. It's interesting to me how hard it is to get audio levels between the game and the microphone right. You would think that you just kind of set it once and then forget it and everything works, but that's just not true, which is interesting, I guess. Matriarch is asking, where's the fun in having your shit together? It's a reasonable question. And also says that it's better now, but you can probably turn it down a smidge more. I've actually not been turning it down. I've been turning the mic up, but let me also turn the other down. But I'm going to try and give this a chance to load, because otherwise we're never going to get into this fucking game. So I don't actually really know much about the AI
roam
systems.
the still, cold world. No horizon in sight. The rulers of old, stripped of pride and glory. It feels as yesterday we were turning the wheels of progress. Until the frost stopped it all. Suddenly, without a warning. When tides had changed, they changed for all of us, no matter wealth or class. We've lost our world to snow. And with it, our last traces of humanity.
So, this is a happy, feel-good game for a Wednesday evening.
We bid farewell to plenty. And for those who remained, came the time to adapt. We decided to leave our homes and head north. We roamed for weeks. Maybe months, leaving behind all the things we once believed had made us. It was hope that pushed us forward. Slowly, step by step. We knew the cost of our journey, and we paid the price. 100 times. Finally, the time has come to build the last city on Earth.
So here's my question. If everything's frozen over, why do you go north? That doesn't seem like the right move. So, the quest text is, we fled from London and crossed the sea to reach the frozen north. On the way, our convoy was hit by a blizzard and scattered. A handful of us managed to reach the site of this generator only to find it frozen solid and abandoned. Why is no one here? Did any of our people survive the blizzard? Are there any others out there? Whatever we do, we should expect the worst now that the world as we know it has crumbled. We have to survive. I'm going to tell you, in the next 2 hours, strong chance we're not going to survive. That's how this probably plays out. Nice to see Metasway in the chat. Hope you're having a great evening. fight the cold. You need to get the generator working. It provides the heat and power to other buildings. Without it, we'll freeze to death. Stockpile some coal and start the generator. So I think, is that coal? No, that's wood. Is that coal? That's also wood. That's steel. Wood. Coal? Coal power. Yeah. Alright. We're gonna set that to a whole bunch of workers. Yeah, I mean, the reason that all my shit is not together tonight is I ended up having a long chat at work with my boss before I came away. And that was, it was really good. But to a point where I kind of lost track of time and was like, oh shit, I've got to go. So we've got 80 homeless people. We have some wood, some coal, some steel. We need to get to steam level 1, so we need 6 coal. Oh, we have 6 coal. We can just turn it on, no problem. Start on some housing for these homelesses, because I want to fix that. And that's all the wood we've got. So one of the things that I remember being quite intrigued by playing through this game is kind of the procedural event system. Like, everything else is kind of fairly, like, there's definitely like frostpunk, steampunk kind of vibes to it. But like, there's a lot of kind of standard city kind of things going on here. The one kind of interesting wrinkle is if I dial up this temperature overlay, you can see that this generator radiates heat. And that kind of creates a situation where everything has to be built in a radius around the generator, and you need to dial the generator up to generate more heat and expand this kind of temperate zone. I think it gets a little bit more complicated than that. In fact, there's a tutorial on temperature that I'm ignoring currently. That's a tutorial on camera controls. Here's a tutorial on temperature. I think it says basically what I just said. Oh, but the other point that it makes is that you can have these little side generators as well, so that's cool. What I found interesting about this game, kind of from a conceptual point of view, is that because it's so oriented towards the heat, everything ends up being part of like a radial. I don't know if that's like super interesting, but it's a little bit interesting. It kind of makes for a slightly different flavour. Let's assign 15 workers to go get some wood and go get some steel. How many unassigned workers do we have? We have 5 and 15 engineers. Let's assign 15 engineers to get some more coal from that coal pile. So we're going hardcore on gathering on day 1. And dial up the speed. So again, it's another game that's got varying speeds.
End of shift. Go rest all who can.
And I don't know if you heard that across the stream, but there was a foreman, I guess, declaring the end of the shift. Tutorial on controlling time. Construction we've got. Generator we've already seen. Illness and healthcare. Cold homes or workplaces can cause people to get sick without proper care. They become gravely ill and might die. The sick can be treated in medical posts, but the gravely ill need an infirmary to be treated. Until you build one, you can save their lives by signing one of two laws. The radical treatment law allows you to treat the gravely ill in medical posts, but some will be left as amputees. The sustained life allows you to keep the gravely ill alive, but untreated in medical posts or care houses indefinitely. There's definitely a kind of bleak kind of vibe here. We want a medical post, but we don't have enough wood, and it's nighttime, so none of it matters. So we can dial up the speed. And now we've hit 5 a.m. and we slow down. So, we've played simulation games. We've played RimWorld, we've played Oxygen Not Included on Sunday. It's indicative. I don't know. It's kind of my personal kind of thing, I guess, is that I just like these kind of simulation games. So day-night cycle, that's going to teach you about shifts and shift times. You can declare emergency shift to get people working 24 hours. So to an extent, like, it's a different aesthetic and a different kind of interaction mechanic, but some of the back end of the simulation here is probably fairly similar. Alright, let's jump to very fast.
Get to work. Move, people. There's plenty to do.
So we're getting a kind of nudge that with the coal reserves that we've got, we're okay. That's sort of true, but food is going to be the next thing, and making sure that we can actually set up a food source. So if we jump in here, for a start, let's get that medical post that we were just talking about. Second, we're going to want Hunter's Hut. I'm actually going to lay out a road to the next radio. Because as I recall, the Hunter's Hut doesn't actually need to be heated. Maybe the cookhouse doesn't.
Gather your tools. The shift is ending.
Okay, well you can do either. Base heating level 1. Base heating level 2. I don't know if that's telling me that it can tolerate less heat or more heat, but let's find out. Base heating level 1 we're going to put out here. It's not adjacent to a street, I'll fix that in a second. And then, oops, there's not enough space for that guy. Well, bollocks. Alright, well, we'll put it there. And there's a street. So I want to save that in a line as much as possible for housing, because it's going to be a while, I think, until I can crank out the radius on the generator. Maybe. So Matriarch's asking how I'm enjoying streaming so far. I'm actually, I'm surprised at the extent to which I'm getting into it. I dicked around with it on and off over the last couple of years, because that's kind of the thing that you do. But I never really, grabbed it, and then this idea of kind of doing something a little bit more technical and kind of, instead of just playing Overwatch or whatever, but like sitting and talking about AI systems and kind of investigating things. It's really got me. I mean, it's a new hobby for me, but it's something that I'm really enjoying. I've been doing it, must have been doing it about 6 weeks now, and actually, I made affiliate status just this weekend. So I'm really happy about that. So there's a housing problem which we're aware of. We have basically a choice point, and this is kind of allowing for differentiating ourselves within kind of narrative is a strong word, but it is a kind of action point where the choices that we make are going to have consequences. So we can say that we'll provide some shelter, and that means that we've got to provide 25 people with some shelter in the next 2 days. Or we can provide shelter for everyone, and that's going to be 50 people in the next 2 days. Or we can say that we're not going to do it, and discontent will rise slightly. If we say we're going to provide for 25 people, that's 3 tents. I think we've probably got enough wood to do that. So, no, we don't, because we just ordered the building of all that fucking... Oops. Bollocks. With the housing, the what word am I looking for? Cookhouse and hunter's dealie. We're actually low on wood, and as a result, we might be fucked. When facing demands, remember this: people usually look for the quickest solution, not the best one. You don't have to agree to everything they ask for. If you fix the problem your way, it's fine. So that's kind of giving you a little bit of guidance on what, that provide shelter was actually turned into a quest down here. Failing the quest, I think, drives either discontent or decreases hope or stuff. So with basic resources secured for now, we can try to rescue the people we left behind, build a beacon, scout Frostland, and save as many survivors for our expedition as possible. You'll need a workshop to design plans for the more advanced buildings. So I'm not going to chase the workshop right now. But what I am going to do is get... so I'm going to take the 15 engineers off there. Take, how much steel have we got? Probably okay for steel. Let's crank down a little bit. Again, this feels like there's a, it's clearly like systems balancing, juggly type stuff happening here. So don't need that many people in the. We can take that up to max. That's going to give us 10 people. Probably want to take a few more away from the wood. Actually, we probably want to take a few more away from the steel. We'll keep trickling some steel in, but we'll keep that at 15 and bring that up to max. And then we'll assign 5 engineers from here. Alright, that's declared as livable. So I think that is right. That was the one that said it could be a little bit warmer, and that one is comfortable. So it's within the heat zone, +2 for building insulation, so I think that's fine. These are the hunters going out for the night. So there's not a lot of sophistication to the NPC systems here. They kind of head out and do things, and they're more kind of just visual renderings of what's going on than actual entities themselves, I guess. One of the things that I think is a really nice touch is just the way that, like, as they start trekking around, they actually leave trails in the snow and actually kind of clear it out as routes that they've walked down, which is, it's an attention to detail that's actually not necessary arguably, but the fact that it's there makes it really cool. So let's crank up the speed again. So on Sunday when we were looking at Oxygen Not Included, one of the things that was really interesting was kind of just understanding the fidelity of simulation that was happening behind the scenes and kind of turning that into an understanding of both what the player needs to do to interact with the simulation, but how the simulation's going to interact back, and how those kind of AIE systems are more readable for kind of understanding the underlying simulation. Here there's not a whole lot in terms of kind of telegraphed information about the systems. You know, you're getting the visual cue from that. You're getting, I think there's another overlay somewhere maybe. You're getting indicators about like temperature's going to drop significantly in a couple of days, I think that's what that's saying. So that's going to get unpleasant. Alright, everybody's going back out now before we start the shift.
Get to work. Move, people. There's plenty to do.
Our coal resources are going up. We're getting quite a bit of wood there. I think the first 10 going up. In fact, we can get all 3 that we need actioned. And then run out of wood. So we've depleted some of that initial stuff.
Put down your tools.
Alright, we fulfilled the promise of shelter. We've got some hungry people. That's going to suck for them. I didn't see... We've got 1 piece of raw food and some food rations. I didn't see the hunters go out, but they must have done. I probably don't need to be paranoid about that. Let's go 10 on the wood and 5 on steel. So the way that it pops up these messages from like peons, I guess, heads, NPCs, is interesting. It's kind of giving you a flavour of how they're feeling just based on kind of a snapshot of a couple of fly-ups, effectively. One of our people is gravely ill. If you sign the radical treatment law, the gravely ill will be treated in medical post but may undergo a risky amputation as a result. Alternatively, you may sign the sustained life law to keep them alive until we build an infirmary. What do you think, chat? Which way are we going to go? So we can do radical treatments, or we can do sustained life. Anybody got opinions? So radical treatment, the gravely ill will be treated in medical posts, and hope will rise slightly, but 30% of the gravely ill will be left as amputees, and discontent will rise slightly. Alternatively, the gravely ill will be kept alive, hope will rise slightly, discontent will rise slightly, they'll not be treated and they will remain a burden, and they will take up beds in the medical post. I'm leaning towards radical treatment just because I don't want to take up beds in the medical post, because then I'll have to build more medical posts. So now is the time to shout if you think that we should do something different. Alright.
A new law has passed.
Alright. So we're going to go with the radical treatment. Matriarch says, opinions, yeah. Gravely judging your decisions, yeah. So, I don't know. Like, look, until you've sat here and tried to bring back civilization from the frozen ashes of whatever the fuck happened to them live on stream in front of people, judge not lest ye be judged. That's all I'm saying. Alright, discontent's rising. And I just hope they won't cut my leg off if I fall ill. I mean, in fairness, just don't fall ill in your leg, I guess. Alright, workforce. Some buildings require intense mental labour. Hunters leave the city in the frost to hunt in the frostland for food. They work from 6 PM to 6 AM. They bring up to 15 units of raw food from each hunt. Research upgrades to significantly increase hunt yield. That seems like something we're going to want to do. Food and hunger. Hunger. Hunter's hut, 15. Hut house, 30. Cookhouse, 2 food rations per raw food. It doesn't sound like... So, we're going to bring in 15. We're going to turn it into 7, and we're trying to feed 80 people. The math on that feels rough. Matriarch says, sustain life puts a strain on your resources for a long while, but gives a power spike late game. Also, it's the morally right choice, of course. So yeah, so I feel pretty judged. Weather changes. When it gets colder outside, the temperature inside buildings drops as well. Buildings differ in the amount of protection they offer from the cold. Oh, that might have been what I was looking at with that building level thing. To see all the factors affecting temperature in a building, hover the mouse over the thermometer icon in its panel. Temperature requirements. Many buildings, such as the cookhouse or medical post, must be at least chilly or warmer inside to function. Chilly being a serious classification right there. So this is explaining the heat zone and making sure that things continue to work. So is there a way I can see, like, well, that's not what I was looking for. Alright, we've got housing for 60 out of 80. That's also not what I was looking for. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. We have 5 workers and 10 engineers unemployed currently. Let's build another 10. So, consumption 180 per day, 144 per day. I don't know which one's which. Alright, let's look at this guy. Alright, so we're gaining 180 per day, and we're consuming 144 per day. Oh, the clue was that that's a net green. I guess it would be net. If it's net negative, it will be red. Okay. Wood gain is at 40. Steel is at 13. Food processing is currently shut down for temperature and for being out of resources. Alright. So this is the start of a cold spell. So it wants to tell me about generator overdrive. So in extreme circumstances, the generator can be put into overdrive. This will increase the heat it provides, but also put the generator under stress. Keep an eye on the stress gauge. When it reaches 100%, the generator will explode. That doesn't seem good. Oh, we never staffed the medical post. That's why nobody's getting better. Oops. Well, done that now. Here's a random event. One of our people has become gravely ill due to frostbite. This will keep happening if people have to work in such cold. I mean, civilization has ended. I have a generator. The fuck do you want from me? Unreasonable, that's what it is. So I think the base heating level means that it's got a bit more insulation. So I think I can build that a little bit further away, I think. So let's try dropping it there and see what happens.
Night is coming. Down your tools.
So we're going to want to... Let's do... Well, the first thing we wanted to do was the beacon. There are no buildings available to research this technology. The fuck does that mean? Not adjacent to us. I just built it next to a street. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, maybe I didn't. What? Oh, that's bogus. Alright, well now it's next to a street. Fuck. Alright, well, start that shit. We're ready for a new law. We only have the adaptation thing. We can do... Ooh. None of these sound like the best ideas ever. So we can have child labor for safe jobs, Or we can have child shelters. We can establish a cemetery. Hope will rise slightly. No risk of disease from unburied bodies. Each burial will keep some people from work, and we'll have to build a cemetery. Or corpse disposal. Throw them in a pit. So here's a question. Like, why don't... I think I'm just going to not do any of these because they all sound fucking nuts. Oh, actually, there's a timer on. It locks you out, so I'm going to want the emergency shift at some point, probably. So let's just do it and not use it.
Listen, everyone. New law is signed.
We've got 15 sick people and 4 gravely sick people. We've got 10 people who don't have homes. Can we squeeze in one more tent? No, because that is just a really big... That's going to bug the shit out of me. Why did it not snap to the fucking street? Well, oh, there was already a entryway onto the second thing. It's a nuisance. Alright. Well, we know we want more hunters, so let's throw that on this back here. I'm going to put it half on if I think, so that I can add a second one if needs be. So it seems that this is also wired in to my Razer Chroma, because I've got a very kind of cool ice blue kind of effect on the keyboard here. Wonder if I can move the calendar. Move the calendar. What the fuck am I talking about? Camera. That's the word I'm looking for. You see that? Look at that ice blue effect. It's kind of cool. You also got a little peek behind the curtain there, seeing the shit that's all over my desk. So everybody's gone out to work again, and she said that her husband and daughter didn't reach the city with the main group, but she's sure they're still out there. She wants to join the first scout team we'll send out. Alright. Calm your fucking... So did we... Oh, we haven't researched that yet. Calm down. So we've got 19 sick people, 7 gravely sick people, so that's continuing to look awesome. Honestly, I don't think I'm very good at this game. Matriarch was saying that they managed to min-max it pretty well, but I just don't like it. Grok's really weird to me that, like, you know, just everybody's sick, fuck you. It is such a bleak, depressing, suicide-inducing game. Consider signing the care household prosthetics law. Well, I don't want to do that because I don't want to bind myself to something like that. I don't have enough resources. Man, it turns, you know, you work out what kind of, like, ruler you're going to be working on this shit. Alright, Max. Alright, we can add some more research. Let's get some heating research on the go. See if we can stop these people fucking getting sick and shit. We're also about to run out of food, so... But we've got loads of raw food, so as soon as the temperature comes up, which will be tomorrow...
Night is coming. Put down your tools.
We'll open a new medical post and make you shut up. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to put it inside the heat zone. Gotta get... Well, I've got to get this, and then we'll look into how we can get opening up the next... So you kind of, as you start bringing the generator's range out, you get more and more concentric circles of heat. Somebody died. Died due to lack of treatment. So, that's my bad. Alright. Can't sign anything for another 4 hours. Engineers assigned. Well, currently they're in there, so let's get them out of there. Assign them there. And a couple of workers there. Why is that working at 93%? Oh, maybe because it's chilly? Oh, one person's absent because they're in treatment. There you go. So in the morning, it should warm up. This is kind of, you know, these bits are interesting in kind of how they're giving you a read on the population. I already did that, didn't I? Oh no, extended shift. I don't want to do that. It's going to upset people. People are already ready to. Well, they're not ready to riot, but they're not far away. Oh. Did we... the economy side. How many people do we currently have? Yeah, none. Alright, that's why we had some spare workers, is because we didn't have anybody working the coal piles. So I'm going to take these folks off working the steel. Because it's probably not going to be important, or as important. We got... kind of need all of those. Kind of need all of those. Dial back a bit on that. Assign 8. What's 8 going to give us a couple loss? Fucking not many. 8 gives us 72. I'm going to have to pull some away from. Now how are we looking? Exactly balanced, so okay, cool, what's wrong with that? So discontent just dropped pretty dramatically. Alright chat, what are we doing? Cut off his leg or let him be? One of our people is facing death, but he's still refusing amputation. He keeps screaming that he doesn't want anyone to touch his leg and he won't change his mind, even though gangrene will kill him in a matter of hours. This is a fucking dark game, man. This is like... There's no good choices. There's just like... this... crazy need to kind of survive. Alright, we've got the heater research done. So now let's get... Oh, I think we have to research... we need 50 wood for that. Fuck. Yeah, well, we can start that one with 20 steel. This is not going super well. I guess we should. We need 20 wood, 35 steel for this guy. We're making not much wood. So I can either lower hope or raise discontent by how I respond to this event. So the event system really is presenting me with, like, here are two shitty options, which one would you like? Which is interesting, but it's a little bit kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? This is my second playthrough, I think, and I feel like I'm seeing the same choice points popping up, so they're very heavily triggered, particularly at this point, like, and that feels like a missed opportunity. It feels like, you know, making these a little bit more non-deterministic would actually give it a much better flavor. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but, you know, the fact that this just pops up because this guy died, and it's part of the sequence and kind of it flows from the last one, kind of makes me a little bit on the whole thing. Like, you know, I would much rather, you know, when you think about kind of the way that RimWorld or shit, what else have we been playing? Sunless. Well, I'm not sure whether Sunless Skies was procedural or not. But the point is that there's ways of doing this that feel a lot less kind of scripted. And that's kind of... I don't know, like, neither of these make me want to really, like, say anything. I just want to be like, oh. So discontent's looking fairly low, so fuck it. We've got a sick absence there, and the workshop's working at 80% efficiency. Let's...
Gather your tools.
I think the cookhouse is working again. So the cookhouse is going to produce 4 rations from 2 food, so that feels like a good trade-off. We've got 60 food. Sorry, we've got 60 raw food. So they're going to make... well, they're going to do it 30 times. 120? This is why I don't... I try not to do math as much as possible as by hand. What's interesting here is, did you see that those hunters just disappeared? They walked this trail and then vanished here, and so did the ones over here. What's the economy of food, I think? Raw food gain is plus 24 per day for having 2 dudes. And the food ration gain is going to be 48 per day. And the food consumption is negative 78 per day. For a net of minus 30, I guess. So we would need to add 1 more hunter's hut and actually fund it with workers in order for this to work and actually be kind of net neutral. You know, the pinch point of how many workers you have initially
Get going. Time to earn.
feels... oh, excuse me. Oh. It feels like there's more kind of pressure there than there really ought to be. Let's get this. Let's do it. There. Oh, I guess that extends back somehow. Alright, well. That's good enough. We are out of wood. Well, fucking go mine some then. Taking those engineers out to add them in on the wood. So there seems like there's a much more active management of, because of that initial pinch, you're kind of being driven to kind of only deploy workers where you actually need them and stuff like that. I don't know if that is kind of your strategy, Matriarch. Clearly you figured out a strategy. Urgent need for treatment. Alright, I'll open a medical post if it will make you shut the fuck up. Right, probably won't because... Wait, where are those guys? Are they coming out of one of the hunting huts? You can't actually click in and select an individual, so as much as there are named individuals with the dialogue fly-ups, they're not actually tracking one-to-one with any kind of character within any of the NPC models. Yeah, fine. So we've launched a beacon, which is basically a weather balloon with a massive fucking searchlight on it. Which, sort of assumes that everybody that you're going to encounter is friendly, which I'm not sure that's true. To create a new unit. At least 5 citizens must be available. We need 40 wood. We need 40 wood, 5 workers for a scouting party. I'm going to pull all of those guys off. Put them all. So, people are cheering, and somebody has stepped forward to volunteer to be part of the first scout mission. But, I can't do anything because I don't have resources, so I kind of don't know what you want from me at this point. Honestly, I think the one thing that we're learning more than anything right now is that I would make a really, really shitty Armageddon kind of leader, I guess. Right, I don't want to build a cemetery. It costs 10 wood. I don't have that much wood. Fuck off. Guess we'll do it.
Hear me. New law in the city.
I mean, the nice thing is that the cemetery probably doesn't actually need to be heated. So we can put it... No, we can't because we don't have enough wood to build a fucking street.
Move! Time to get to work.
throw the cemetery up there. We'll unassign these wood people, wood smiths, and we can now create a scout. So let's send them to the Lost Expedition and see what's doing. It's going to take 10 hours to do that. So I'm not sure which, some group of something. So that's a cemetery taken care of. We're going to want wood in the morning because we do have this one with 19 hours left to open a new medical post.
The work shift starts.
So they're going to search the area. Children and adults surround us, packed and ready to go. So we can escort them to the city, or we can send them to the city. If we send them on their own, then it will take longer and some of them may die. And if we just escort them, then it will be quicker. So this is going to give us 10 engineers and 22 workers and 4 kids. It's a lot of mouths to feed, but at the same time, like that, we're short on workers. Let's just get them back as quick as we can. So this kind of worldview is definitely an interesting wrinkle. It's actually quite a big space when you try and pan around it. So there's an awful lot to kind of explore and discover in this view. Or at least it gives the impression that there is. That might not actually be. That might all just be contained in this little area here. But the fact that they let you pan around makes it feel large and important, and like there might be something more going on. So you know, we've kind of taken the narrative of kind of being the last city, but you know, when you get to this point, like maybe that's not true. Maybe there are other cities out there waiting for us to explore. I have no idea. I haven't played through this scenario further than like, I think I got through 20 days through it. And we're at day 9 already, so we're halfway through. It's going about as well this time as it did last time. It's about to go. It's about to go horribly wrong, I think, because I just can't. I'm not good at this. And like my ability to kind of juggle the plates and keep all the plates spinning for it lasts so long and then it falls apart and I'm fucked. Alright. So I think it makes cinematic of 130 or however many people it was arriving. They've maybe got some supplies there. Well, so this is a bit of a kind of, you know, as part of the introduction stuff, we got that, it's time to found the last city, but shouldn't there be other settlements nearby? The first expeditions left London long ago. They ought to be well established by now. They'll surely help us find our footing. Now, given the tone and given everything else that's going on in this, it's safe to say they're probably not going to help us find our footing. In fact, I think it's probably fair to say that they'll probably be finding a bunch of corpses soon, because that's just the dark, kind of macabre sense of this game. That said, we do have a medical post to build, so let's do that. I don't think that's going to be warm enough, but fuck it, let's do it. another settlement. We're running low on coal and we will be fucked tonight. So let's get the people out to solve that. And this one is going to go 24 hours, unfortunately. We've got 44 homeless. We've got 24 sick.
Workday ends. It's off time.
I mean, I don't have enough wood. Well, I guess I've got more people now, so I maybe could. We could probably do something here. Let's give it a go. They're not going to be comfortable. They're not going to be warm. They're probably going to not love it. On the other hand, they want houses. They don't want good houses. So, tough shit. Oh, well, okay. The radial design of stuff still messes with me. Like this interface really feels weird to me. I don't know if that's fair or not. Yeah, I promise. Fuck off. I don't think I did. It's there. Oh, I guess it's not staffed. Oops. Is there anything else we can research without wood? Kinda doesn't look like it. No. Yeah, so we're out of food, we're out of wood. We're headed to a fail state pretty hard here. Oh. So now that I've opened up that world map view, I can, if I zoom out and then further, like, why can't it zoom in? So if I zoom, that's really weird. Like, okay, if I zoom there, and then click out. But you would think that there would be, so if I just from that zoomed in, like I would expect there to be a pull back to the overhead and then actually require a second to zoom out to that higher level. So that feels like a bit of a interface kind of miss. I've worked on games before where we spent a lot of time specifically over this particular interaction. Feed more with less. Alright, look. Soup. Everybody's on soup. Fuck you.
Hear me. New law in the city.
And then immediately, I hate soup. All my life's been like. On the one hand, I get it.
Cold is coming.
In the cold, we lose heat. So we can turn the heat on. We can swap over to soup. And now the workday starts.
Work time. Get back to work.
I'm like 90% sure that this is a dead. These people are just like Oh, I needed to provide shelter and I didn't. Oh, well, we've got a pile of wood now, so let's do the thing. That leaves us with 20 wood. So let's add hunter's gear.
Finish your labors, people. The work day is up.
I've made a few medical posts, I'm not going to do more. Okay. Oh, we built a scout and never sent it anywhere. Let's send it to the observatory. So one of the things that's kind of interesting here is on my first playthrough, and I'm starting to I'm starting to kind of get a sense of how, like, I kind of suspected that this map was procedural, and now that I'm going through it a second time, it's actually not. So there's a lot of very heavily scripted events and stuff happening here. Yeah, it's interesting to see how different games approach these different problems. Like this taking the strategy of kind of being heavily kind of curated and giving a very specific experience, to the point where the random events are triggered rather than random, to a point where, you know, any of these opportunities to kind of do something a little bit more inspired actually miss, and it really impacts the replayability, because like I know I'm gonna fail this because I've not solved the puzzle, but I also know that I didn't solve the puzzle last time either, and as a result of that, like this will probably be my last play of this game. I'm not hugely loving it. Nice to see you, Anders. Thank you for staying up till 5 a.m. watching the stream. What the hell are you doing, boy? Go get some fucking sleep and stuff. And yeah, definitely catch up to your GDC. So we've got this guy. Are we? While there are people inside. Alright, well, we've got no food. We've got 23 food. We're going to turn that into 5 food rations for 2 raw foods. We've got a lot of people out of work, so let's maybe throw on another hunter's hut. Oh, that's going to be 20 wood. Well, let's assign a whole bunch of those people to go get wood. Problem solved. That's not a solve. And now people are dying. Like I said, this kind of feels like it's headed towards a pretty terminal state. Scouts have reached the observatory. We're going to get 4 children, 18 engineers, and 11 workers. Let's escort them to the city. So overnight, should be okay-ish. Another thing that's kind of odd is that because it takes in an even number of raw food, you often get left with like one or something that it's just not going to do anything about. Send them.
Time to get to work.
Sending the scouts straight back out. Meanwhile, we need to find some research for these guys. We've got a fair amount of wood, so let's try a bit of faster gathering. We're running out of stuff to gather though, so let's get the coal farm coming up. Because as soon as we miss on the coal, we are terminally fucked. Quite a few people are dying.
Gather your tools. The shift is ending.
I don't know. These feel like they're being triggered at a regular point. Like there's, I don't know, there's 35 sick and 15 of those are gravely sick. We've got 15 people being treated. You know, we've got 3 medical posts open. I don't know, you just can't, like, help everybody, I guess. I'm going to drop the number of workers in there. I think one of the things that's interesting about this game in particular is that I think, as I'm playing it, what I'm starting to kind of suspect is that it expects a significant more attention to micro than I'm actually looking to give. This fucking mouse is driving me nuts. But you know, I'm not really looking to be micromanaging who works where on a regular basis and juggle that in and out and in and out. And it seems like it's structured around kind of that being core to the game. So yeah, that's a thing, and it's not really my kind of thing. Honestly, what's kind of interesting is because the simulation is obfuscated to an extent. You know, I feel like I'm guessing at what people want. You know, other than when it throws up one of those events, but like, you know, how do you find these balance points? And in some ways, like, maybe that's the point, right? You know, maybe the point is to create this environment of extreme kind of despair to actually match tonally with the setting. Maybe. Certainly it's an interesting idea that kind of feeling like we're all going to die is actually part of the setting. I don't know. Yeah. We've got a lot of engineers unemployed. And in fairness, they are providing a lot of engineers in this first batch of people. And that might actually be as a nudge towards making some medical posts. So I'm going to put 2 medical posts up there. And see if that actually... Alright, we're at the sturdy shelter. Alright, we've got 219 wood, 99 food, and a steam core. The shelter is comfortable and well equipped with emergency supplies. There's a notice posted by the heavy round door to all scientists. If you use any supplies, remember to notify the quartermaster upon your return to the city. This means there's another city out there. A signpost by the trail points in 2 directions. London, 1,934 miles. Home, 27 miles. Sites discovered, steel bridge. Alright, we will take those resources. And I'm going to push on to the steel bridge and see what's doing. Probably ought to take the resources back home, but I'm feeling lucky. So I guess this is the lift mechanism. Actually, it's all busted. I think that's the lift mechanism for how you're supposed to get in and out, maybe.
Work time. Get back to work.
It's not selectable, so it can't be super important. Alright, we're going to put a whole bunch of engineers in here. And we've got the coal thumper. Let's get the sawmill coming up next. So coal thumper, by pumping pressurized water into underground coal deposits. Coal thumper washes the precious resources to the surface, forming a pile of up to 560 coal per standard workday, enough for 2 gathering posts. It's going to need 15 wood though, so we haven't got enough wood for that. So let's move on. One of the things that I think is better this time than it was last time is I haven't had a riot and a revolution on my hands yet. I think it's only a matter of time. But it hasn't happened yet, so let's get gathering going faster.
Work day ends. It's time off.
We will send that to the city. So we collected an automaton in that encounter, and we're going to push the scouts on to the weather station. Hey Kufa, yeah, this is Frostpunk. It's not going super well. Finding the bridge to Winterhome proved that we're on the right track, but raised questions. Why was the bridge deserted? Why wasn't the automaton under the care of an engineer? There are logical explanations to it all, but people are growing anxious. And then these people want housing. It feels like a reasonable demand, so let's do it. Let's build 2 housing houses. So Kufa apparently played 30 hours of this game. So hopefully you suck less than I do. Because I kind of suck. So all these people are going to be cold and miserable, but hey, they've got houses, so fuck them. You should definitely feel free to backseat Kufa, because honestly, I do it to Ashley enough that that I should get a taste of my own medicine. Karma is a bitch and all that. People are dying. Lots of people are dying. Let's throw some workers at that coal pile tomorrow because the coal's not looking too hot. Get it? Coal, hot, yeah, we got 20 hungry people, 3 starving people. This is just... Like, at this point, the failure arc is just... it's just going down hard at this point. Okay, these guys are now waiting at the weather station. What's at the weather station? We've got 86 coal and another steam core. I've pushed my luck probably far enough with these scouts. I'm going to bring them back and get those resources. Cooper says you should build houses to house as many people as possible. Which is all well and good, but people will be cold. I wish there was a way that you could, like, restack things that you've done. Because some of this is just packed suboptimally, and I don't think you can just, like, pick up a building and move it. So you can, yeah, you can destroy stuff, but do you get the full value back? Oh, you do get all the materials back, okay. So if I pause and check the heat zone, like, it's not great. You know, we need to definitely do. I need to be working towards upping the range on the generator, I think. Oh, don't check that. This? Ah, there you go. Alright, just have... Yeah, so it's only got that first ring at the moment. So I've got that, and then if I go into like street building mode, I can see build plots and stuff. But basically, everybody who's not one of my, you know, noble founders of my city is fucked because they're living out in the snow. So, you know, that's how the class system works in Frostpunk Lukeville. Oh, so we've triggered, with finding the weather station, we've triggered another kind of arc. So hope falls slightly because they're all saying, I knew we shouldn't have come, at least London had real houses, not tents and wooden shacks. And that's actually going to, I think this is where the revolution kicks off. And there's a split faction that wants to take a bunch of people and go back.
Night is coming. Put down your tools.
Oh shit, I can heat the homes. Alright, we'll for sure do that. We, oh. Nope, you can't do that. Why can't you do that? That's bogus. Like if I can put a heater in a workplace, although I've not actually got it turned on. Yeah, I've gathered a lot of the resources. I haven't quite got all of them, but I've been doing my thing out in the wastes. I've been leaving the steel because I don't really need it yet. I don't know. It's all going to change when Robbie the robot comes in. That's when life's going to get good. Robbie the robot for the win. says I need to make a sawmill. I think I just researched sawmill. Yeah, I did. I can't research anything else because I don't have enough wood. Probably because I don't have enough any things to... Alright, well, when these scouts get here, these scouts are carrying a load of shit. So they're going to have a ton of stuff for me. And then life's going to be good.
Wrap up well. The frost is here.
I'm going to turn the the heater on in some of these medical posts. Does that? It's not actually. No, it's not.
Move, people. There's plenty to do.
Who the fuck is this? We found an exhausted man at the edge of our city. He said that he came from Winterhome, a settlement located not far from here, and that he was the last survivor. Winterhome is dead. Everyone's dead. There's no hope for survival in this accursed wasteland. You're all doomed. You must escape. So, you know, full of joys of fucking spring, this guy. We are all alone. Hope falls. I should pass a law. Yeah, I probably should. This is like day 14 or something. And this is where the separatist movement begins, and everybody fucks off because I can't keep them happy. It's really interesting the way that, like, so from an AI point of view, you know, I keep talking about kind of the readability of the simulation, but we're presented with discontent and hope as like two aggregate stats over the entire population. But then over time, what we're going to find is that each one of the individuals is actually tracking that distinctly, I think. So I'm gonna go with my militant atheism and go for the order and discipline out of this choice. So it's order and discipline, or faith and spiritual strength. But that just feels like a death cult out in the wild, kind of, you know, in the frozen tundra with their candles. So let's see what's doing. Neighborhood watch.
Listen, everyone. New law is signed.
Nah, no. Let's not have a spoilers, Kufa, because I might actually I might come back and play this more and actually try and get into it, but. Once these scouts hit, B1. Is day 15 good, or is day 15... Have I been slow about things? Sir, you've convinced the majority, but hope is low. A group of our people are still so scared that they want to flee the city for London in 15 days. They've come to try to change your mind. You say order will save us. Nonsense. What are we going to orderly decide who to eat first when we start to starve? If we don't try to reach London, we'll end up like Winterhome. So these are the Londoners. These are the people who want to journey back to London. And I say fucking let them. Off you fuck then. Less mouths to feed. So there are 11 Londoners, and that number's going to tick up because I'm going to fuck it up completely. And things are going to go really bad from here on out. That's what's going to happen. We've got 8 hours of fuel left. I'm not sweating it too hard though, because in 3 hours I get 86 fuel, and then I get the automaton to drive things forward. I've got 15 workers out at that one. What I actually need to do is get this sawmill up. It's nice to see that Boston Dynamics survives and makes it to the frozen west. Alright. So I'm going to assign Boston Dynamics to that guy. We've got an hour until the scouts. Until the scouts arrive, and we're out of food again. We've got 12 people starving. Oh no, we've got 12 people hungry, nobody actually starving. We've got 8 homeless. This isn't looking like a terminal fail state right now. It's just not good. Scouts are here. Kufa says I can turn this around, and that might be true, but I bet I can't. Like mechanically, I will give you that. Like maybe I could, but in terms of like actually what's possible, no, not going to be a thing. Was that saying put the sawmill there? Oh. No, it's saying don't put the sawmill there. That's a good positioning. Oh no, that actually drops 1 to pick up. Alright, that's about optimal, I think. So we're going to need that. And we're going to need one of these straight shot into there, and then into there. And that will give us a road out. Kufa says that I need 2 sawmills, so okay. I trust Kufa. Second one, really should have cleared that just to get it cleared. Not next to each other. Yeah, okay. Alright, I know what I'm doing, kind of. I really don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I can put it... Should have put that one there. Alright. Building here will... Okay, that's not going to destroy a resource source. That looks as good as it's going to get. Alright. And let's extend that to there. Cool beans. Was that enough of a street? Probably.
Time to rest, folks. Work's out today.
I really don't want to open another medical post, but sure, why not? People could just stop getting sick. That would be just fucking peachy. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be building a watchtower. Oh, they're under order. Ugh. Look how much space that needs. It's ridiculous. you. I'm going to demolish your tent because fuck you. And then we're going to demolish your hunter's hut because fuck you. And let's go speedy speeds. Now, I want to put out a watchtower in that gap that I opened up. I want to put out where I opened that one up. I'm going to put up. Yeah, I'm still. The hunter hut doesn't need a lot of heat, so that can go up on that guy. In fact, let's even put it further out. Well, why won't we put it all the way out? And let's put 2 hunter huts. We should be net positive from that. So I've got another one there, and I think there's a third one somewhere. What's your problem now? More people join the Londoners because fuck me. Let's add some people to the watchtower. And yeah, we have enough energy for that. Let's turn on the heater. We need workers in the sawmills. So we're about to run out of coal. I'm not researching. Scouts can go out again. Go for the coal mine. Large convoy. Alright, let's go for the large convoy.
The work shift starts.
So that coal pile is depleted and we're now fucked. So, 1 coal thumper. Does it... Can I put it away? Can I put it... Alright, let's go out there. Let's do per suggestions from Kufuku. We're going to go 2 thumpers, and we're going to do oh, does it matter that they're okay? Well, it makes sense that like if you're drilling on the wood, then like you don't put them next to each other because they're using the same pieces of wood. But like this coal thumper thing, like what the fuck is it even? Is it? I reject this notion of a cold thumper. Where's this bro going? Is he gonna build some stuff? Yeah, he is. That's nice. What's happening here? Alright, I think I'm okay with that in this case. We will get the automata on that.
Workday ends. It's off time.
You promised people warmth, you broke your promise. Oh well. Maybe they should all just fuck off back to London. We'll have 10 assigned. Now, why is that not? Oh, well, wait. Where's? Oh, they're just out of range of that guy. Bollocks. All right. Well, let's unassign them. Alright, well, I think I'm beyond saving here, Kufa, so I appreciate you stopping by, I appreciate the advice. It is also 8:30, so that's time for me to clock off. Yeah, so we started out playing Eco, and by playing, I mean we saw a UI that basically said, hey, you're going to be playing this over a number of days with a whole bunch of other people, and we said, hey, fuck that. Because this is only a 2-hour stream. So Frostpunk was kind of a fallback position. It wasn't necessarily my first choice, but honestly, like, there's a bit of a charm to it. But honestly, like, I find it very difficult to read, and of the kind of survival games that we've played over the last few weeks, probably I would say this is the one that I kind of like least. You know, it very much is pushing you onto the knife edge and trying to hold you there, and it holds you there through the micro game more so than any other way. So juggling your resources of how people are assigned. You know, if you think about a game like RimWorld or a game like Oxygen Not Included, that's a lot more intuitive, or not intuitive, but kind of implicit. You set your priorities, you allow it to kind of, then the simulation drives what the people do. Here you have to be very explicit in defining like what the people are going to do, and it's a very different kind of style of effectively NPC control. Oh shit, we've got no call. This is all about to fall apart, so it's a good point to end the stream. Let me do one of these. Do one of these. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I've got for you tonight. Great to see a whole bunch of people hanging out. Great to see like a lot of traction on social media tonight, which I'm quite enjoying to see. Yeah, there's going to be no stream on this coming Sunday. I'm going to be in Toronto. What I'm going to try to do, and it is a big try, I don't know if I'll actually be able to make it happen. Now that I'm affiliate status, I do have the option to pre-record videos and like premiere them. So I may try and get something put together for the Wednesday night stream. Not sure whether that's going to happen or not. So definitely will be back on Sunday. I want to say the 3rd of March. Yeah, Sunday the 3rd of March. Should be good for that stream. That's going to be another Ask Me Anything kind of format. and I'm looking forward to that one, as it's probably going to be the first of the kind of full launch, not soft launch kind of streams. So I'm gonna look at promoting this and building up the audience a little bit amongst the broader game AI community in particular. As a result, we'll be playing something that's a little bit more AI-ish, with a bit more stuff to talk about. I mean, we've been kind of rat-holing a little on systems design and kind of readability of simulation versus AI versus like player UX and player understanding. And whilst that's an interesting area to be focused on, it's maybe not the best for kind of diving deep on some AI stuff. So I'm going to figure out what game we're going to play. And we'll be back on March 3rd. And like I say, I might try and throw something out for next Wednesday, just so that the content cadence can continue, but genuinely no promises there. It means me finding 2 hours in a schedule where I kind of don't have that 2 hours. I hope you're enjoying the stream. I really appreciate everybody who's stopping by the chat, who's calling out things that they're seeing, and also kind of giving me tips and pointers. I always get this wrong. Here we go. On Twitter, we are at Game AI Show, and we're also at Game AI Show on Facebook. You can find us at gameai.show, although that website is not maintained yet. It's coming soon. Probably shouldn't mention it if it's not actually done. Pro tip. Big shout out, like I say, to everybody who's turning out, who's coming, who's watching and chatting. It's really making it a lot more of an enjoyable experience to make it interactive on my side. But also big shout out to Pragmacat on Twitch. All the graphics that you're seeing here, from this one to that overlay to this, Cat's put all of that together for me. And I'm super happy, super stoked, and really appreciative. And of course, shout out to Deathbow, composer extraordinaire. All the music and themes that you hear at the start of the show, and now as I'm kind of doing, and oh, hang on, this isn't going to work. I have to actually quit out of the game before I can play game audio, or not audio, desktop audio that's not on the game. So now I can do it. So now I can play a little bit of, I think she called it Silly Robot or something, this one. But yeah, this has been the Game AI Show. I love games, I love AI, I love doing this stream with you guys, so please come join again on March 3rd. And with that, I will sign off. Thank you very much.